right. Welcome everybody to Fox Hill Wealth's Retire Ready in 2035 workshop. Let's kill the music here, although that is a fun party tune. All right, my name is Justin Obi, and with me is Eric Benz, one of the principals here at Fox Hill Wealth, and we're excited to have you guys here. Let's get right into it. We think 2035, and that sounds very far off, futuristic date. I don't know why it does, but it's really not that far away. It's 10 years from now, and we really want to help you guys get ahead of things, so you're not 2035 isn't come and you're caught off guard, caught on your heels, and saying, "Oh boy, how am I going to retire comfortably?" And maybe it's not for me. So in this presentation, we really want to we're going to go over, what does retirement mean to you first and foremost. It's not an age. It's not once you get to 65 you get to retire. You could retire right now. I know you're 52, so if you are, you could retire now if you have the means. So it's really about your lifestyle goals. What are you spending? What's coming in during your retirement years? And how comfortable are you looking to be while you're in retirement? And then, what we're going to cover today after today's presentation, once you've reviewed everything with us and gone through the exercises, you really will have a strong foundation of your retirement goals. What do you need to have coming in, going out? What does that look like? That whole picture look like? We're going to go over emergency fund and short-term savings goals. And you'll just have a really clear picture of your retirement action plan. Eric, do you have anything to add there?
No, that was perfect.
All right. And then overall, the importance of starting now. It's so important. We can't stress that enough. The time is constantly compounding, and we need to take advantage of that. So not only are we planning right now, making sure our ducks are in order, but we're also making sure that we have enough saved, and things are strategically thought out. Believe it or not, we'll get into it later, but there's a method to the madness as we start withdrawing our retirement funds, so that it's strategic from a tax perspective, and we're not paying more taxes than we need, and we want to make sure that we're not over withdrawing from the retirement funds outside of that plan. So setting things up now, having a really strong strategy is super important. So before we go to the next slide, I wanted everyone to take a moment and really ask yourself, what are your biggest retirement concerns right now? And just write that down. And we'll be able to come back to that later. Hopefully those concerns are answered throughout the presentation, but in case they're not, we'll come back to that. All right. So right now, the state of the retirement, this is an interesting statistics to pull. The majority of Americans are feeling like they are behind where they should be in retirement. The average, this is by age group. So if say you've got a nephew or maybe your son or daughter, and they're right out of college, 21, 25, whatever. This is what the average 25-year-old has. So the average balance is $7,351 in savings or investments. The median balance, however, is $2,800. So there's a big discrepancy right there. And you can see that discrepancy throughout, the average and the median, really highlighting like how relatively low there's the 401k balances are in some cases. But this, I don't know if this helps any of you. It's kind of nice to see where you are, compared to others. But the goal is to be far above it, above this. If you do only have $272,000 at age 65, realistically, there's not much chance of a real comfortable retirement. So, and then we don't want you to be falling in that 20% of Americans who don't have any retirement savings. That's not the goal right now. So if you are right now, you're like, ooh, I don't know where I am. The good news is there's plenty of time to catch up before you retire and develop that plan right now.
Yeah, you really want that flexibility. A lot of Americans are going to rely on Social Security, and being able to save in different buckets is gonna create that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, the other thing is like a lot of Americans go, oh, well, Social Security, I've been paying to that for years. That's going to cover my, my income needs in retirement. And unfortunately, that's really not the case. I think I just heard it yesterday. There's 8 years left of Social Security at the current rate of spending. So meaning in 8 years, it won't exist unless big changes take place. And not to get political, but that might be what Doge accomplishes in today's what President Trump is trying to accomplish. There might be hope for it. So we'll see. But unless today there's strong legislative action, Social Security is something you cannot count on and won't be able to. The other thing is inflation risk, right? So we all have heard of inflation, especially in the past 4 years. We know about inflation. It is eroding your dollar. And so today's dollar is going to be worth less tomorrow, is the basic understanding of inflation. And for example, $80,000 today, or to live in 2035, you'll actually need $114,000 per year. So that's just every year in the past, just 4 years, real inflation, cumulative inflation rate is 21%. So really want to make sure like you are increasing that and accounting for that inflation, that it's eating into your overall savings there. Longevity impacts, how you're living longer. You're hopefully healthier today than the last generation. And so you might live till you're 100, 120, who knows, thanks to technology and innovation in healthcare. So we want to take care of that as well. And on top of that, healthcare costs are rising. So hopefully you do stay healthy, but things come up and we want to account for that.
Yeah, the one thing on the Social Security, Justin, is the what you said about the date of 2035 shortfall is correct. I think what it doesn't go away entirely, but your benefit goes down dramatically, and it can't meet your current living expenses. It's not like it goes away altogether though, but same concept.
Okay. No. Yeah. Thank you. All right. So we're gonna go. So the retirement readiness formula takes into account these three key pillars. So savings and investments, how much do you need, income planning, and then the risk management. So we're gonna do a quick exercise here with you all. And so I just want you to close your eyes and imagine your retirement in 10 years. Okay. So where are you living, first of all? Is it here in Massachusetts? Is it on the beach down in Florida? Is it on an island in St. John? Or maybe it's over in, the dry heat of the desert in Arizona, who knows? But picture where you're living, the type of housing you have, how much is that going to take, to afford? And then what does your typical day look like? What are the goals you want to achieve in your retirement? Are you playing pickleball with all your friends every day? Are you taking care of your grandkids? Just think about what's your typical day like, and then what activities fill that time, right? So other outside of your typical day, you've got travel, hobbies, volunteering, time with family, any related expenses there come up. And then what kind of home do you have? We covered that. And what kind of lifestyle do you want to maintain, right? So think about your groceries. What kind of food are you eating? Are you eating like filet mignon every night? Are you eating topped with crab, or are we eating spaghetti, meatballs?
We're going to Capital Grill.
Yeah. Are you treating the grandkids the Capital Grill every Friday? Who knows? Think about all those lifestyles. They do matter, believe it or not. And now let's estimate the retirement income based on what we just envisioned, right? So just start. You can take a piece of paper, pen and paper, and just write down estimates here. If you'd meet with us, we really get into the nitty gritty and fine tune this as best we can with some of our retirement planning software. But housing, mortgage, rent, taxes, maintenance, write that down, right? Utilities, what is that going to be? Food and dining. Okay, so what's our monthly budget for food and dining? Like, do we like to eat out a lot? Are we eating at home? Figure that out for you. And this is why it's so important. Everyone's situation is so unique. So there's not like one definition of retirement and what it costs. Travel and leisure. Are you going on vacations? If so, are you taking the entire family for you? Are you paying for everyone's airfare and hotels once a year, or it's just the two of you and the kids are on their own? Are you supporting any college payments for grandkids or anything? Transportation, other personal expenses. Think about everything and kind of try to write all of that down. Those are going to be your expenses and what you need to cover. And then the 4% rule calculation. Okay, so we're going to take all of that. I want you to divide your annual income need by 0.04, and that will estimate the total portfolio you will need to support that lifestyle generally. So, if you need 100 grand a year, you're approximately going to need $2.5 million saved. But not just saved in a bank account, right, Eric? We want that in investable
Invested.
assets,
Yep.
earning money throughout your retirement. Okay, so let's take a moment there. And now we're going to assess the progress, right? So where are you today, your actual saved towards your goal? Did I say that right, Eric?
Yeah.
So we have, and then we're going to use just a simple compound interest calculator. You can go to our website, foxhillwealth.com, and click the investment growth calculator. And that's going to allow you to plug in some of these numbers. What is in your portfolio? The average rate of return. You can throw in, 8%, and it's kind of calculate how much that will grow, even if you're pulling out of it every year. And then as our fifth and final step here, if you're on track, what habits will you continue? If you're behind, how are we going to catch you up, right? What changes need to be made today to ensure you have a comfortable retirement tomorrow? And I want you to take one action right now toward retirement readiness. So that could be increasing your 401k contributions. It could be a backdoor Roth conversion from a 401k that you have. Maybe now is a time where you're in a lower tax bracket. It could be a great time for that Roth conversion. So you're leaving your kids with a non-taxable retirement account as a Roth IRA. Meeting with a financial planner. Like, what action are you going to come into our office today, talk to us? What action item are you going to do today? So anything that you would add, Eric, to this as people go through this exercise?
No, it's incredibly thorough, and the thing people never do is they never actually set aside the time to actually walk through their living expenses and think about what their retirement's going to look like. So this is a great process to run through. Best way to make sure that you actually sit down and do it is set up a meeting with your advisor. Otherwise, you're probably not going to do it.
Yeah, and a lot of this, others have coined it different things. Like if you're a Tim Ferriss guy or gal, you've read the 4-Hour Work Week. He calls it dreamlining, right? Like, and it's outside of retirement bounds. We're really talking about that, but like dreamlining, like this is what we're doing. We're taking this moment to really define your goals and dreams for retirement and make them, attainable. Really make them actionable and make them real.
Yep.
All right. So next slide. Yeah. So again, this just goes into a little more detail. The 4% rule. This is sorry, I'm taking it away from you, Eric, here.
Keep it.
But the overall, I think the one thing about the 4% rule, you'll read about it online, you'll hear about it. It's really a guideline. You can pull more out if you'd like. If you've amassed that much more in retirement savings and investments, you can pull more. You can than 4%. It's not something that you have to do. It's not locked in. Make sure you adjust for inflation too in this number. Again, unfortunately, inflation's real. It's eroding the value of your dollar. So we want to make sure you're not caught off guard. And in 10 years, you're like, oh boy, I actually needed a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
definitely.
the 4% rule hasn't applied the last 15 years because the market's been doing 10 to 15% a year. And then, but the math works out, right? When you add the 4% for the rule plus the 3% for inflation, that's 7%, which like is more like historical performance for portfolios. So yeah, you can't rely on portfolio performance is the idea.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, and that gets us into the next thing, right? Planning for the long term. It's, and I'll hand this over to you, Eric, but just what you were saying, we want to cover our short-term basis.
Yep. Yeah. Having that cash set to the side so you can let the market do its job, know that it's going to swing up and down, but you have cash there in case the market, is in a downturn. So over the last 100 years, the S&P 500 has averaged about 10% a year. There's going to be crashes at different points in time. We had 2008. More recently, we had the COVID crash. But turns out right after those crashes is when the market has its best days.
Yeah.
So the idea is time in the market, not timing the market. We always want to stay invested for the long term, avoiding making emotional decisions and selling at the bottom of a market. So JP Morgan did some analysis for the period of 1999 through the end of 2018. So if you initially invested that 10,000 bucks in 99 into like the S&P 500, that would have grown to about 30 grand if you just left it in the market during that whole time. If you took your money out for the 10 best days in that same 20-year time span from 99 to 2019, the same investment, so you're missing the 10 best days, it would have grown from $10,000 to 15 grand. That's an annualized return of 2%. It goes even further. If you miss the 30 best days, now you're talking about a negative return. So from 99 to 2019, you miss the 30 best up days of the market, your investment goes from 10 grand down to 6 grand. The reason being is when you take money out at the bottom of a market, you miss those best up days and you end up losing out. And it's impossible to time what days are the actual bottom.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually, I mean, quite eye-opening.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Missing the 30 best days, just being out of the market because you're afraid is a tough wake-up call.
We've either added clients later who did something like that because their advisor didn't talk to them during that period of time, or maybe they were in an industry that was hit hard during COVID, figured that that's what was going on with the rest of the economy, pulled money out of the market. You see it all over the place, but the key is to stay invested because we don't know when the bottom is. The market is forward looking.
Mm-hmm.
Like the stock market rallied after 3 months, a few months during COVID, even though the economy hadn't really rallied at that point because the market is forward looking.
Right. And it can be scary to, after a big crash to get back in right then and there or to stay in. But that's kind of what we're here for. It's investing is emotional. And when you have that extra coach to help you out on the sidelines, say, hey, like we got to stick to our plan here. We're going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. That's huge. I think the value of that is it's priceless. So. Because we just talked to a client recently where they had been out of the market for 4 years, hoping to time the next fall. They thought a crash was coming, And now it's been 4 years since they thought the crash was coming. It still really hasn't happened. So it's tough when you missed out on those gains.
Yeah.
All right. So
do you want me to do the slide, or is this you or me? I can't remember.
yeah, no, that's all you.
All right. Managing risks and avoiding pitfalls. So the biggest risks to retirement, market downturns, like we spoke about, we can't control for that. We want to stay invested for the long term, can't control for a downturn. So what we do is we have cash on the side. Might be in short-term treasuries. You can build a little bond ladder, and you're going to want 1 to 3 years to. This is in retirement, by the way, 1 to 3 years, so you can draw from that in a market downturn. Let your investments recover. Yeah, and then another thing to worry about is unexpected costs like rising healthcare. Talk to your advisor on this one, because you might not think about different things that could come up. It could be a long-term illness, so you might want to think about long-term care policy. There are a lot of different things to consider in order to fully kind of figure out all the risks that you might be exposed to. You're going to want to run a financial plan.
Yeah. So we're gonna show you this right now. If you can still see that.
Yeah, this is our tool. It's called Nitrogen. It used to be branded as Riskalyze. We send out clients or prospects a link. They can click into it, and it helps us understand what their risk tolerance level is. And it's a great planning and coaching tool. So we're just going to run a sample for you.
Yeah, so let's pretend, what are your primary financial goals? We're talking about retirement today. I've got a little college savings fund going on for our kids, and we're looking at wealth accumulation. So anything interesting in terms of employment, inheritance, money. Yeah, it's a great spot to put that. Just a little more information.
Yeah, most people put like, oh, I want to retire at this specific date. What's your most people have for liabilities? They have like car payments, mortgage, and some credit cards, right? So they might plug that in there, and then they go in and plug in their assets on the next step.
Yeah. Full investment amount. How much do we have to invest? Probably done pretty well. Birth date. I'm retired. Not sure here, but let's say how do you feel about the market? Feeling good about it. And how do you feel about your financial future? With Fox Hill,
Come on, everyone's anxious, bro. Come on.
Not with Fox Hill. But say you aren't with us. A little anxious. Yeah. Okay. Risk and reward go hand in hand. It's important for your financial advisor to know both the amount of risk you're comfortable taking. So as we increase this, chance of gaining, but you're going to risk all of it. Is that okay?
Yeah. And this is based on historical market data. So, hey, if you're comfortable, if you want to get that, what's the return there?
20%.
Yeah, if you want to get that 20% turn, you're going to risk a downside, of 7%. 13. I would say even more than that too.
Yeah.
Because that's based on the last 6 months, I believe. So it's
yeah. So we're gonna go. If you're closer to retirement, someone's gonna pick a realistic number here. Someone like myself or Eric, who've got a longer time horizon, we might go for the whole enchilada.
I would pull it all the way to the right, but
exactly that's what I would do. But again, let's keep it here. The market dropped quickly. If your portfolio value dropped by $29,000, what would you do? This is really where that emotion, a lot of emotional people will say, let's get out of here. Yeah. Hopefully you've got a great coach and you can stay invested in the market. All right. So let's put your comfort to the test. You pick A or B. would you sacrifice some of your potential upside for the safety of a certain outcome? Potential gain of 55,000, but you could lose $33,000, or a certain gain of 8,800.
Let's
a
take the
lot of people.
potential. Come on, let's
I
take
think a
A.
lot of people are going to go B, but what would you do at home? If you're
$8,000.
listening right now, what would you do? I think A or B. Just like choose your own destiny here. What's that? Choose your own adventure.
I mean,
That
you're talking
book
about what a
series.
guaranteed $9,000 versus the chance of making 55 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think let's go with let's
People,
do
most
A. Come
people are
on.
going B.
No,
You're going to
all
go
right.
A there? All right.
No, you can go B then.
Oof. Let's go A. All right. Now the numbers change slightly.
Ooh.
We're going to stick with A. Oh my
Oh,
God.
well,
Now I get a
I'm
certain
definitely
gain
going
of
B. Yeah,
22,000.
yeah. Let's go
Still
B.
going. Still going A.
You're still going. I don't know.
All right. Eric's go. Eric goes. That's his number. Okay.
Ooh.
Still go B. Okay. Oh, now we got a
Hold
gain of
on.
63,000.
Yeah, let's go A.
Going A. Okay. Now let's see. So it's going to do a little calculation here in the background, and it's going to give us a risk number. So
46. Okay.
46.
Yeah, so I feel like that's probably about average. I think I usually see clients in the 50s. The biggest value add, like an advisor mostly, like this is great to know, but they're going to want to manage to your financial plan. And, you know, depending on your age, you might be in like all stock
Yeah.
because they know your time horizon's longer, despite what your risk score is there. But that's a good tool because your advisor will let you know, like, to be ready at all times for some market volatility and try to help make you feel comfortable with that risk.
Right.
But yeah, it's a great tool to have.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to understand the risk and what,
Yeah.
even if you're not managing that risk exactly, it's good to understand your emotional state when you're investing, just to have like a more of an understanding of yourself, I think.
Yeah. I think a good example is like, what if your risk score came in at a 20, but your goal was to build a legacy and really save up enough to have this amazing lifestyle in retirement where you have 2 homes and you're golfing and all that stuff. It would be inappropriate for your advisor to just put you in fixed income or like cash investments, knowing that that's what your goals are. They should try to coach you towards, being in the stock market a little bit more.
Unless you already had like a massive payday and you're sitting on, 30,
True.
$50 million. I don't know, but it's
Very
again
true.
the uniqueness of everyone's situation. That's why you got to get in, talk to your financial advisor, come up with a strategic plan. Because Eric's right. If that's your goal and you're nowhere close to that, you're never going to get there with fixed income. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's me, right? The slide or
Mm-hmm.
okay. Building a retirement income plan. So yeah, where's your money going to come from? Social Security, your retirement accounts, which is your 401k, your IRAs, taxable accounts, which could be your brokerage account, a joint account. Maybe you've got rental income, part-time work. You factor all that in.
Yeah.
So having a withdrawal strategy helps with. So that longevity risk we talked about, having that withdrawal strategy will help there. Withdrawal strategy can help you reduce your taxes. Oftentimes when you plug all this information, your living expenses, all your different sources of income into like a financial planning tool like an e-money, it'll often tell us, hey, you're going to start by withdrawing from your taxable accounts. Then you're going to withdraw from your 401k or IRA. And lastly, pull out of your Roth accounts. This is during retirement. And then, from a financial planning standpoint, having that cash on the side is incredibly helpful. Something we discuss all the time with clients is when to take your Social Security benefit. Everybody's different. The longer you wait to take that money, the greater the benefit will be and increases a certain percentage each year. Some clients are more aggressive. They say, hey, I'd rather invest aggressively, not touch my and use my social security right now so I don't have to pull from my investment accounts.
Mhm.
Other people are like, hey, let's wait so my social security benefit increases. Then there's also some people who are like, hey, I'm going to keep working a little bit. So let's wait until my full retirement to take my social security benefit, because if you're making some income, it's going to erode your benefit a little bit, to a certain point.
Yep.
Yeah. And then there's planning for the future. Once you hit that RMD age, which is 73 now, it could go up in the future as well. You have to withdraw from your IRAs. And there's a certain amount each year you have to withdraw. Potential pitfalls to an income plan in retirement is sometimes like large withdrawals can push you into a higher tax bracket, obviously, which increases your taxes and increases Medicare premiums. So some people will do Roth conversions before 73 to reduce RMDs later in life and smooth out that tax liability over time.
Yeah, I think, personally, I want to pay as little to the government as possible. And so I think making sure you're doing that strategically so that you're not paying taxes more than you need to be is really
Yeah.
critical. All right. And again, like this is so important. We had to make it its own slide. Having an emergency fund in retirement is crucial. Market downturns, as Eric said a few slides ago, happen. It's not a matter of if they are going to happen. It's a matter of when. And there's a rhythm. There's cycles to the market. You can't. It's impossible to time it perfectly, but they're coming, right? So those downturns are coming. It's important not to have enough money on the sidelines that you can cover your short-term needs. So, how much groceries, rent, utilities, mortgage, etc., car payments, eating out, just general lifestyle stuff. Having that, 6 to 12 months of cushion in a bank account that's, very safe earning. It could be a high yield savings account, it could be a bond ladder, like Eric mentioned, but having that short-term emergency fund there so you don't have to start eating in and drawing from the investments you've made. So because after the downturn, the market has the best days, huge returns, if you can just stay in there. And so that's really important to know. So the action here, right? We want you to, like, how much do you actually need? So again, going back to the earlier exercise of our lifestyle calculator, how much money we have, you want, as a rule of thumb, about 6 to 12 months of cushion if you can do that. At a minimum 6 months. That's definitely a good rule of thumb to follow. So how much do you spend monthly in your dreamlined, goal-oriented retirement plan, right? And then multiply that out by 6 to 12 months. That's exactly how much we're going to suggest you have in highly liquid assets, that's short-term emergency fund. Now so again, this is, diversification is key. The other day, 2 weeks ago, China announced that they just came out with an AI equivalent. The AI market took a tumble, pulled some things down with it. And you might have heard in the headlines, certain stocks were down over 30% or more. So big drawback. But if you had a diversified portfolio, you might have not felt that at all. Maybe you were down 1% for the day and everything has since recovered, from that. But if you had everything in that one stock, right? If you had all your eggs in that NVIDIA basket, it took a tumble. So you never want to be in like one stock. You want to have a diversified portfolio that is concentrated enough where it's going to earn you significant gains, but it's not overly concentrated where you're just at risk of a certain upset in one piece of the market. More modern portfolio theory suggests 60% stocks, 30% bonds, 10% alts. The for us, at Fox Hill, we really highly believe in securities overall in today's world in order to get the returns you need. But again, that's everyone's unique situation is different. A lot of our clients, we have bonds, they're nearing, they have that fixed income need and they're close to retirement. So it depends
Yeah,
on,
or in retirement and they have like a withdrawal strategy. Like maybe they have monthly expenses that come out of their bond account,
yeah,
which they'll have treasuries that mature at each month, and then that creates the funds that they need, and that goes out to their checking account on a regular basis.
right.
But otherwise, their long-term investment that's either for leaving their legacy behind, fighting inflation, helping their portfolio grow. That's all in the stock market.
Yeah.
And we have plenty of clients who are with us invested in all stock because they're trying to grow their portfolio for retirement or even trying to build a legacy that they're going to pass on to their children and their grandchildren. Because retirement's a long time. It's like for a lot of people, it's 30 years. And you're going to just stop investing and not let your portfolio grow during that time period. And plenty of people want to build that legacy. So it's important to not
I,
take all, not pull yourself totally out of the market.
I think legacy is probably one of the top two, maybe top one or two on the totem pole for most people.
Oh, I think it's number one. And even the
Yeah.
people, because legacy doesn't have to just be your retirement account itself. It could be the experiences you have with your kids and your grandkids when you're in retirement,
Yep.
which once again, you still need your portfolio to grow so that it can fund those experiences.
Yes. Yeah. And so, all right, so that really brings us we're almost wrapped up. Next Q&A, but the retirement action plan, today we want you taking these steps, right? So define the retirement income goal. Like, what is your goal for your dreamline retirement? What does that look like? What does your comfortable retirement look like? Where you're enjoying life, having as much fun as possible every day. You're spending time with family, living in the place you want to live. And that doesn't have to be, bougie and crazy stuff. For a lot of people, having a car that runs well, that is reliable, and doesn't have to be fancy. So it's what it's for you. I would encourage that, not to do it, not to build that plan for to impress others, right? Like, what is it that really truly means something to you? And then assess your current savings where you are today. So where are we today? Where do we want to be? Okay. And and then really how are we going to get there? Okay. So the create a risk and diversification strategy, set up that emergency fund. Maybe you don't have 6 months. Maybe you don't have a year right now. That's okay. But let's get there. Right. So it might mean living below our means in the short term and saving as much money as possible for a couple of years, getting back on track, and then making sure that our future is secure. That might be a worthwhile risk, sacrifice rather, in the short term. So again, be honest with yourself and review and adjust accordingly, right? So talking to your financial advisor, that's what we're here for. That's what we talk to our clients all the time. Truly white glove service, and like we believe in a proactive approach, right? Talking to our clients constantly and making sure they're on track for retirement and their goals, their other financial goals. So today, what is that one thing you're going to commit to right now? I want you to write that down today. Now, take a moment, pen and paper, put it in the phone, put it in the calendar. What is that one step that you are committing to today to secure your ideal future tomorrow? And that concludes today's presentation. I hope you guys liked it. Q&A, next steps, questions. Shoot us an email if you're listening to this on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're listening to today, because you didn't make the show. We didn't make the workshop. There's always next week. We're doing events every year, every month, twice a month now. But you can shoot us an email at hello@foxhillwealth.com. Ask us about a free retirement session. And on our website, there are numerous calculators you can go through, whether you're buying a house, retiring now, want to see how much money that nest egg is going to grow to at certain interest rates. It's a fun calculator too. So, we've got a great team here at Fox Hill. Want you to give us a call and come talk to us. So again, hello at Fox Hill Wealth. We're in Boston, Newport. Eric, do you have any final things to say?
No, I mean, that first step is that call, and doesn't cost you anything, and it'll, maybe we can add some value. So
Yeah.
either way, excited to meet whoever's listening to this.
Yeah, and if you don't call, hopefully this advice, this you took value from this as well. So again, thanks for joining us, and we will see you soon.